Hello, it's me, Martinez-Bateman, CEO of New Coyote Consulting. We are an equity and communications consulting firm here in the Pacific Northwest. I am recording this video. It's the first video I've done in like 2 or 3 weeks because the last video I shot was the last part of my desk saga, which that did not take 3 weeks, even though we released the parts over 3 weeks. It took about a week and a half, honestly, for that whole thing to happen. Then I got fucking sick. I got a totally minor little cold after Thanksgiving, and I did not take care of myself, and it morphed into a massive, like, chest, nose, lung situation that took 2 weeks to get to this point now, where I still have a little cough, but I'm mostly recovered. And part of that was that I just didn't take care of myself. I didn't stop working. I didn't change my habits at all. And surprising no one, I continued to get sicker. And during the period of this sickness, I also kept taking meetings and didn't cancel meetings that I really should have canceled. There is a line, because this is my business and I am responsible for bringing in revenue. And if I don't, not only I suffer, but other people do as well. Where because I have so much control and so much power in this situation, there are some things that are harder to cancel for being sick. Like, I have to be way sicker than I was, basically, I think, to cancel some of those things. But there were a bunch of things that I could have canceled easily, and more, I think, than the average CEO has, because one of the whole fucking points of New Coyote was that we were going to start a company where you could be sick and you could have chronic illnesses and it wasn't going to affect your performance or your ability to make money. And so the entire structure of the company is centered around the idea that we are human beings and we have human lives, and human lives involve a certain measure of chaos. So I didn't do the thing that I literally built this company to do, and I continued to get sicker. And finally, I kind of realized what I was doing that was making this so miserable. And I talked to a couple people, and I worked it out that one of the things that's happening when I'm doing this is that as a chronically ill person, I am constantly, every single day, making a negotiation with myself that's like, okay, I feel these, and these symptoms. However, here's what I'm going to do to mitigate them, or here's the degree to which I'm going to ignore them and power through them. Because as a chronically ill person, there's just very rarely a day where I'm not experiencing some kind of symptom. And then, of course, flare-ups happen. And with a lot of chronic illnesses, when you have a flare-up, it kind of doesn't really matter what you've done. You're going to have a flare-up. And it kind of doesn't really matter what you do during the flare-up. It's eventually going to go away. And, you know, you just sort of live your life like, okay, well, that's happening and that's the reality. So as a person who's so practiced in that negotiation with my body, when I actually get an acute illness like a cold, I treat it the same way. But you cannot do that with a cold, and you will get worse. And that is what I did. And so I'm realizing that what I need to do is have like an early warning system for when I am actually sick and not continuing to be chronically ill. Because sometimes they're hard to tell apart. I have lung stuff. I have nasal stuff. There are days when I wake up with every single symptom of an acute illness and it goes away by the end of the day or by the middle of the day, because it's not an acute illness. It's just inflammation. So we determined some triggers of when I'm going to decide that either it is an acute illness and it's time to take rest and cancel things, or I'm having a bad enough bad day with my regular old chronic illnesses and conditions that it's time to take rest and cancel things. So next time I get sick, I will hopefully deploy this process and avoid making it worse. As it is, though, I definitely participated in a lot of toxic productivity in the last couple of weeks. I have definitely gone against what I view as to be the principles of this company. And the good thing though is that when I saw that happening, when other people pointed it out to me, thank you for everyone who was like, wait a second. I was able to reach to my network, pivot, and figure out what was going on. And so I did take a couple days off to really like get much better, canceled some things. And I do feel a lot better today. I do have this lingering, I think you can probably hear it, this lingering congestion, but I do believe that is just inflammation from my like jacked up sinuses. And I do have a cough, but I'm going to be paying a lot of attention to that. And when I start to trigger that threshold that I set for illness, I will be taking more time off if that's what I need to do. So that's where I've been. That's what I've been doing. This is also a video to sort of like not only tell on myself, but also just really state my intentions going forward and state that, you know, back when I was working for other people, I had to work when I was sick, basically all the time, because I had to reserve my sick days for when my chronic illnesses were really bad or when other things were happening that I couldn't control. And I hated that, and it was bad for me, and it was bad for everyone we work with, and it was bad for our product, and it was bad for our clients, and it was bad for our customers, and it was bad for my coworkers. And I never, ever, ever want to be in a situation where I have to do that again, or where I feel like I have to do that again. So being able to remind myself that this is not that I have a totally new level of agency and power here was very important to help me sort of like realize what was going on so I could heal. Everybody remember to have a lunch, have a weekend, have a walk. I will see you next week.